This week on the show, we talk to the outlaw himself, John Rocha. We cover all the latest in the Schmoedown, and including the retirement of two champions of the league. And we wrap up the Ultimate Team Schmoedown. Let's go. Hello and welcome to the Reactors Summit. I am your host, Jacob Blunden, and we have a massive show for you today. We're going to cover all 5 massive matches in the Schmoedown this week. We're going to cover all the sad news, the happy news, the great news, everything. But to do that today, I am joined by my wonderful panel. Evan DeGraff, how are you today?
I am glad to be back. I had to take a small break. You gotta clear your mind from all things Schmoedown. 5 matches a week has been kicking my butt. So thank God we are going back to 2. But if you want to do 5 again, go ahead, because the more the Schmoedown, the better.
Yeah, guys, we got through it. We got through this. We got through 5 matches every week for a month. It was great. I love you for how much we did that, but my God, that was so much work. Like everything else has just been on hold. But Matt, you had a bit of a tough week. How are you going, mate?
We gonna start this off? This is how we're gonna start the show? I was about to say, man, I haven't been back on the summit in a while. Now I'm remembered why.
Chris, you've been doing a lot of editing, a lot of recording, a lot of reactions. We're back to 2 next week. How are you?
I'm doing great, Jacob. This has been just a hell of a week. The work that we've been doing has been top-notch, and it's been a great week, and I can't wait to get back to 2, but this has been so fun. It's going to be a joy.
Dohmen, same with you. You've done the exact same. We've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes with a lot of reactions, a lot of recordings. We had a charity event halfway through them as well, but how are you going, mate?
Despite the fact that it was a week of hell, it was a great week for the views. It was a great week for us emotionally, because it was very back and forth from everybody. A lot of high joy and a lot of very deep sorrow. But I'm just glad that we can sort of take a break from that for a bit.
If we're feeling like this, and just imagine how Harloff and the crew at Collider are feeling. Like, man, that would have been a nightmare. But guys, let's go to our what caught our eye this week. Evan, what caught your eye this week?
Okay, well, other than a plethora of other things, something that specifically caught my eye was on Inside Schmoedown. It was confirmed that Top 10 will be playing the loser of Team Action versus Above the Line for a #1 contenders match in the spectacular. Now, I'm not for this, and for a few specific reasons. One, they played real rejects during the tournament, and that's not necessarily an impressive win. 2, then they played Blofeld's Cat. They had to win. They had to get the points record in order to beat them, so that's a good match by them. But then they also had a pretty disappointing loss to Team Action. They almost got knocked out. If you look at that track record, they've had one okay match, one really good match, and one match that was not good at all. That for me doesn't scream for the ability to get a #1 contenders match. I think it should just be, just strictly whoever loses the championship for the Ultimate Schmoedown gets into the #1 contender spot. And maybe Top 10 should have played MODOK instead to get a #1 contenders match. I just believe that for the track record that they're having, Top 10 don't necessarily deserve it. Look, I love John Rocha and Matt Nelson, what they do for the Schmoedown. Just in the grand scheme of things and in the sport that the Schmoedown is, it doesn't line up that they deserve a #1 contender shot, in my opinion. That's all. Okay?
Yeah, I do agree with that, Evan. I personally am of the opinion that top 10 should have played MODOK. That should have been, and then the winner of that match plays the loser of the finals. I think that would have been how it should have worked. But Chris, what caught your eye this week?
What caught my eye this week actually was, for a while now, for even months now, ever since Celebration when Ken won the Star Wars belt, people have been asking, when is he going to defend it? When's he going to have his first title defense? Well, this is not an official confirmation, but we do have a Twitter invite to a fatal four-way battle between Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.com, Joseph Scrimshaw from the Force Center podcast, and a good friend of Ken Knapsack. So that'll be interesting. As well as Steele Saunders from the Steel Wars podcast and Alex from Star Wars Minute, because I actually do know all these podcasters, this could be one hell of a fatal four-way for a shot at Ken's belt. Though it should be a fatal five-way, and I should throw my own hat in the ring. But hey, I can only beg so much from the commish. So,
Matt, what caught your eye this week?
You know what, Jacob? Actually, two things caught my eye this week. So first was during the top 10 action match this week. They do those little promos before the actual match starts. They used my interview from the summit with Team Action, okay? If you saw a reaction, I lost my freaking mind. You know what I thought? You know what? God, Schmoedown, you did it. You made me really happy after you made me really depressed. I thought that was kind of it. Then I'm sitting down on Friday watching the title match, and none other than Mark Riley is coming out to co-commentate. I'm, of course, losing my mind. I lose my mind even more when Mark Ellis...
Yeah, one of the legends of the game.
That's right, making Matthew Kearns happy with his appearance here today. We'll be calling the
and he was true with that statement. So, yeah.
Fair enough. It was, we're getting, look, this show, an interview from this show got used on the summit. I got used on the Schmoedown. I kind of freaked out a little bit when that happened, and that was fantastic. But Chris, what caught your eye this week?
Thank you, Jacob. What caught my eye this week was Kristian Harloff has released the new schedule up into November 24th. I'm just going to go through a couple. I'm not going to go through the entire thing. If you're in the Facebook group, you should join and see it for yourself. On October 19th is going to be the Fatal Five-Way between Mance, Burnett, Inman, Dewberry, and the mystery person. On September 22nd will be the singles tournament special. Then next week, we have Snyder versus Nost and Makuga versus Kalinowski. And then October, it's pretty stacked as well. I cannot wait. It's going to be a great, great, great rest of the year.
Yep, we've got a massive schedule. But, Clark, what caught my eye this week was someone bringing just happiness and just a general great mood to the MTS page. So on Thursday night, some of you who are, regulars of the MTS group and had seen Chris Clark kind of made a bet saying that if Team Action wins against Top 10, he would personally apologize to every single member of the Action Army Facebook group. Spoiler alert, Team Action win. So 4.5 hours later and 3 live stream videos later, Chris Clark had to apologize to everyone on the MTS group. And look, as much as we all laugh about it and as much as we're all like, oh my God, this is hilarious. What caught my eye about it all and what I think was so special about it was there was just 4 hours of love of the Schmoedown and just... There was no negative buzz at all in the MTS page for that 4 hours and for a few hours afterwards. It was just this happy place for a while where everyone was just able to collectively laugh at Chris, who was laughing at himself. And it was just this, it just reminded me of why I love the Schmoedown, why I love the interactivity, and why I love, because passionate fans like Chris, passionate fans like us, we make stupid bets that we end up regretting. Chris had, Chris Dohmen had to watch Norm of the North because of a stupid bet. One of us is going to have to watch Catwoman at one point because of a stupid bet. Like we all make stupid bets and they're fun and they just remind us why we love the Schmoedown. I wanted to mention that. I know it really didn't have much to do with the Schmoedown, but it was one of these things that just, it brought joy to the MTS Facebook group, and I thought that was fantastic because that that Facebook group is a wonderful Facebook group. And if you have not part of it, it is wonderful. You get all your updates, you get everything on there. But there are a few people in there who who cross the line a little too far. And I thought what Chris did was fantastic. It was such I don't know, it just made everyone happy for a couple of hours. And just doing that, it was fantastic. So Chris, I just want to say thank you for that, because it was fantastic, and that's what caught my eye this week.
I love you, Jacob.
All right, let's move on to the first of 5 massive matches this week. The fact that this is considered the smaller one of the week is just mind-boggling. We had another celebrity match, John Rocha versus Jeff Snyder, celebrity match with the team from Party Boat. This was fantastic. Chris, what were your thoughts?
You know, for an exhibition celebrity match, this one was just like the Glowdown. This was a lot of fun. This was so much fun. And the thing is, the guy who was on Rocha's team, I'm blanking on his name right now. Ben, I believe his name was. Dude actually brought a decent chunk of knowledge. Like, he filled in some gaps where Rocha was struggling a little bit, and Snyder's partner, again, same thing. They both had a decent chemistry. You know, part of me thought, well, maybe Snyder should just dump JT and pick this guy up because he's just about as good as JT. Oh, sorry. I'm kidding. You guys know this is total shtick, and I love both the competitors. I just don't like the Patriots because you're not supposed to. Ha! But the fact that we still had a full match where it came down to the last question to win the game, I gotta say, it was a hell of a time. So thank you, Harloff, for getting another celebrity match. And the more of these we can get, the better. And the more quality we can make these celebrity matches, again, the better, so we can get more exposure for this amazing game.
Exactly. I mean, look, it's done really well in the numbers. It's done really, really well just by fans. I haven't seen many people complain about it. I mean, we got Rocha versus Snyder, essentially, and that was a great match. Matt, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a funny match, which I'm always, especially when we have such a killer week like this one with high stakes, it's nice to start the week off with a match that, you know, it's not really going to affect records, and it's just fun. I mean, Tom, that whole cold opening of him and Snyder and the whole toothpicks thing was great. But yeah, the match was a lot of fun, and this was maybe a possible prologue to a possible Snyder-Rocha match we could get in the singles tournament if things go that way. Which, who wouldn't want to see that match?
Exactly. Evan, what were your thoughts?
Something that I want to note about these matches specifically is Kristian Harloff and the Collider team is really starting to figure out what's the best way to integrate these celebrities into these matches to help build the Schmoedown in itself. And what I really liked about this Party Boat one was it still pushed along a storyline that was important, you know, the Rocha Snyder thing, and it just helped push it along while it was an exhibition and still had fun with it. It was still able to push along a storyline a little bit, and fans were invested into the match rather than just sitting through a celebrity match. And I want to applaud Collider and Kristian for doing that, because it's a brilliant move. It is brilliant what they have been doing with these celebrity matches, and also with the celebrity guests from American Ninja Warrior. That was really fun. So during the top 10 versus team action match, we can talk about that later. But, you know, point being is they're doing a lot better of a job with these celebrity matches, and hats off to them.
Yeah, definitely. Chris Clark, what were your thoughts?
This celebrity match was better than I thought it was going to be. I actually thought it's probably my second favorite after the It match, but it's really good. It's up there with the Glow match. I loved it a lot. At least Rocha won once this week. But, you know, it is what it is. It was a fun match. I enjoyed the graphics still. The graphics on the Celebrity Schmoedown is actually, I prefer those to the actual Schmoedown graphics. They're very clean, crisp, greens and whites. It's really, really eye-popping, and it's great. And the match itself, it was solid. Rocha and his teammate and Snyder and his teammate, they both had great chemistry with each other. And yeah, I actually hope to see the Ninja Warrior guy announce stuff in the future, which I think Kristian actually announced that he's going to be doing the Spectacular, I believe.
All right, guys. We're in semi-finals season. Let's do this. Semi-finals of the Ultimate Team Schmoedown. Tuesday's match was Wolves of Steel versus Above the Line. We saw the sad retirement of one of the league's best ever players. He will always be on the Mount Rushmore. He was the first winner of the championship belt. Matt, I will let you deliver your eulogy.
We lost a great man today to retirement. A man who clearly shown the fire is not out, but due to saying something after the collision, he stuck to his word because, you know, he's a man of his word. Had a good cry this week. I hate the Schmoedown sometimes when we do this to me. Come on! What are we doing here? No, Above the Line versus Wolves of Steel was a really great match. A lot of fun. Drew and Sam not only showed that they can make a grown 20-year-old cry by beating a team, but they also showed that they're proving themselves to be as good as everyone thought they were going to be when it was announced they were going to be a team. And God, it sucks, and I really hope that in 2018 Riley comes back like within the first few matches, which isn't going to happen, but go to someone else.
Yeah, look, Matt's right. This was a fantastic match. It came down. It had two teams had to basically break the record. They had to break the record to win. This is one of the best matches of the week. It was fantastic. Evan, what were your thoughts?
Just for Wolves of Steel, real quick. And I hope it's going to be the long, long time till touchdown picks and feel the feeling fly. Yeah, you get the point. Look, I hate to see them go. They're a good team. You know, Clark and Riley works well together. You know, arguably they got the short end of the stick. This goes all the way back to the decision when Clark Wolf made her decision to be with Mark Riley and potentially might have screwed her over. I hate saying it like that, but they never actually got the belts, and it sucks because I really like them as a team. But, you know, now we have seen their reign as a team end. Their decision era is over, not JT and Snyder's, unfortunately, but their decision reign as a team is over. But just specific back on the match, oh my God, Drew McMweeney and Sam Levine are too good for the Schmoedown. Like, I think we need a cap to say, like, you have to be this good in order to compete. And they know what they're doing, and they know their knowledge. They know how to stay calm, cool, and collected, and that's exactly what they did. I'm curious to see what Clark Wolf's future is. I hope she teams up with Mark Ellis, because that would be pretty cool. Baby carrots are orange. Clark Wolf's hair is orange. Maybe we could get an orange team in the Schmoedown. Who knows?
Yeah, you threw me off then. What I loved about this match was that it did come down. It was so close the entire time. I am still not yet to crown Above the Line the team that they are. They have managed to get a lot of lucky spins, a lot of we haven't seen Above the Line be tested the way that Wolves of Steel were tested in their first year. Basically, every single time they played a match, they got a category that they sucked in. They got a category that was too difficult. Like, I'm yet to see Above the Line really get tested in something that they're not good in. And once that happens, I will be very interested to see. And it happens to everyone. Every single team gets that match that they just do not perform well in. They get that, and because they get a bad spin, their head's not in the game. There's all kinds of reasons. And I haven't seen that from Above the Line yet, and I'm worried that it could come in their next match in the final, or worse yet, it could come up against when they play Patriots. Because if you haven't had a bad game yet and you go to fight Patriots, be scared, because it might happen. Because Patriots not having spinners or opponent's choice on the wheel is a massive deal that I think gets overlooked in every single time they go into a title fight. Chris, Dohmen, what are your thoughts on that match this week?
Okay, so as most of you guys know, after the Schmoes more or less called it quits in terms of teams, I don't have a team I attach myself to. I just don't, because I'm not really a fanboy. I just love the game, but I don't really attach myself to people because the whole action army / growling commandos / that thing, that's not my bag, baby. Sorry. But Above the Line have seriously earned my respect. As two players who I thought would do really good, but have only just been amazing as a team in terms of their chemistry, in terms of their knowledge, in terms of how well Sam and Drew complement each other. Ooh, they might be stealing my heart, man. I don't know what to say about that. But with Wolves of Steel, I said this time and time again. I said it on the rundown. I'm saying it now. This was a team that at first did not impress me, even though this was a team that should have. In theory, they worked great. On paper, it looked amazing. And in terms of the chemistry, it was always there. But in execution, it wasn't. It wasn't for their first 3 matches. But then this tournament actually turned me around on them. I'm like, oh my God, they could potentially take the whole thing. Sadly, they didn't. And now Riley is in retirement pretty much until who knows when. But Clark and Mark, thank you both for all you've done for the team tournament, for the team division. And best of luck to you, Clark, in the singles tournament. And Riley, I'll do my best to be a good shoulder for Matthew here to cry on.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, look, we've lost a team that they were starting to live up to their potential, and that's what I think is the worst part about this is that. This year, Wolves of Steel lived up to their potential. Like last year, they had they weren't the best last year. They weren't at the point where after that decision where, oh, okay, these are your next champions. Instead, Patriots were the ones who challenged for the belt, and they got the belt. This year, we've seen the Wolves of Steel really, really start to live up to that. Okay, these guys can actually take the belt, and it's sad that they never got to that point. But Chris, Clark, what were your thoughts on Above the Line versus Wolves of Steel?
Well, look, Above the Line is what basically everybody thought critically acclaimed how they would play. And they've been kicking ass, and they really, really kicked ass this match. It's really sad that we lost Wolves of Steel the way we did. I feel like they exited out on a match where I don't think this was retirement worthy. I hope that's a fair assessment. This match wasn't retirement worthy for them. I feel like it doesn't feel like we've seen enough of them. I don't feel like it shouldn't have happened. I see why Mark wants to step away, and now it brings more storylines in. But they, regardless of how well Above the Line played, Wolves is still kicked ass as well. And it's just any normal match, Wolves of Steel would have won. But the fact of the matter is, Above the Line, they're basically Jesus and God. They cannot do any wrong. Which means that, they are lucky. But in Mario Kart, you get lucky. You get that first blue shell, and it hits the person in first place, and you win if you're in last. That happens in the Schmoedown, and that's the wheel, and that's what happens, and that's life. Overall, this match was fantastic. I would say that, we're going to miss Mark Riley, and I feel bad for Matt. It was a solid match.
Rest in peace.
Yep. All right. Let's move on to the match affectionately known as the Chris Clark apology match. Top 10 versus team action. This was a lot of fun. This is arguably one of the most tense I was all week. I possibly more so than the title match. Not like this was Wednesday's match. I said this on Twitter, and I put this out there. If this was Wednesday's match, my God, what the hell is going to happen Friday? Because this was insane how amazing this match was. Chris Clark, I'm going to start with you. Talk about your feelings in this match, after the match. How did you feel?
Okay, look. I cannot believe that this happened at all. Look, stats, they should have lost. Skill, they should have lost. This is a match that was complete, utter bullshit. Bullshit. Why did they win? Oh, shit, my thing came out. Why did they win? 1 second. Whoops. Why? Why did they win? I want to know why they won, because I had to do that fucking apology for 4 hours, and I'm sucking piss. I'm pissed at them for losing. Why did I? The one time I wanted Rocha to win, he lost and he failed me, and I'm full of heat. Just leave. I'm just full of heat and sorrow and depression. That's all I can say about this match. Goodbye. Good night, sir.
Matt. You were on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Indeed, I was. I was on the reaction with this guy, which yeah, that was an interesting night afterwards. I guess the first thing I said this on the reaction after Tuesday, I needed that win. If Action lost, you would probably not be seeing me on the summit today. I would probably be balled up in the corner over there, just crying. So I needed this, and I'm very happy. Action proved they're not just these stupid, cocky guys who, no one knows, who can't perform. They beat the former champs fairly handedly. And I'm happy to see them going to the finals, mostly because I predicted in my bracket, but also they're my favorite team, especially now that, sadly, Wolves of Steel are not a team. They are now my number one favorite team. I want to see them beat above the line, because we've seen bad game. We've seen a so-so game from Action, and they took Nerds Watch to sudden death in that. We've yet to see that from above the line. I feel like the finals could be that, and Action could take the win.
Exactly. It's going to be a very, very, very interesting final, and I am so excited for it. It sucks because it's in November, and I'm not going to be here in November, so I gotta wait for it. But Evan, what were your thoughts?
Oh, what were my thoughts? Is that even a thing at the moment? Oh my God, these Dipwad 1 and Dipwad 2 had to decide to go in and actually perform well for once in their life. They actually performed pretty freaking well. They beat Team Top 10. A team that were freaking champs. Dipwad 1 and Dipwad 2, arguably two of the most stupid, two of the most arrogant, two of the most unreal, fake people I've ever seen on the Schmoedown. Them with their unclassy sunglasses and their unclassy suits, thinking that they're cool wearing Ray-Bans. Come on, that's my thing. Look, I gotta give it to them. They know what they're doing. They know how to get into Rocha's head. Andrew Guy was in Rocha's head the whole match, whether Rocha wants to admit it or not. I believe that Andrew Guy was in Rocha's head the whole match, and that's me part of their strategy when they play above the line. And I will be completely rooting against them, because other than Clark, I might be the other one who is against Action Army the most. And Guy and Bateman know it. They're a bunch of dipwads. Dipwad is the only word I can use for them, because if I were to use any other word, I don't think I could actually be on the summit or be on any reactions. So Dipwad 1 and 2, they know what they're doing. They're probably going to get into McQueenie and Levine's head, and I don't want to say it, but I think they're actually going to win the Ultimate Schmoedown. But I'm still going to root against them because they're dipwads.
Chris.
Team Action 1, all respect to them. I don't like them as a team because, just like the Patriots, I'm not supposed to. They earned my respect as competitors, but that's about it, because the game screwed Top 10 who should have been on the redemption arcs. We could have had one last rivalry with the Patriots, and then they could have done that stupid stipulation just like with Rocha, Riley, and Murrell. But no. Instead, to the victor goes the spoils, and above the line is going to cream them.
Well, guys, this week we were able to sit down with John Rocha and talk about this week in the Schmoedown, what he's got coming up in the singles tournament. It was a great interview. We hope you enjoy it. So I am joined here today with the man himself, the outlaw, John Rocha. Thank you so much for this interview. How are you today?
My pleasure, Jacob. I'm all right. I'm fighting off an illness, but you know, we set this up, so I'm making time for it. I always love talking to people who love the Schmoedown, so I'm looking forward to it. Let's get to it.
All right, thank you very much. Well, I have to start here, and I wasn't going to start here until yesterday happened, and then the biggest news in the Schmoedown right now is, of course, Dangerous Dan has announced his retirement, and as one of the only as one of two men now to have beaten him, what are your thoughts on Dan Murrell retiring?
Well, Dan is an incredible champion, and it was an honor to face him when I faced him, and it was incredible to win and beat him and get the title. It was one of the greatest moments of my time in the Schmoedown, and all I can say is the guy leaves an incredible legacy. He is the first person everyone should talk about when they talk about the best competitors in the Schmoedown, the history of the Schmoedown. Belongs on the Mount Rushmore of Schmoedown. And his retirement, I think if I had beaten him in the triple threat match, and I was so close to doing that, I think he might have retired then, because Dan has so many responsibilities with Screen Junkies and with other places, and he's champions in so many different, he's a real champion in so many different leagues that I think his time was being stretched thin, and I think he realized maybe it was time to step down and kind of focus on other things and let other people step into the void and have at it here at the Schmoedown. So, but I got nothing but respect for the guy, and it was an honor to watch him in matches, and it was an honor to play him in matches, both teams and in the singles.
Yeah, definitely. So, before we get into the top 10 match this week, you were part of another match this week. You're now part of a rather small club in that you have participated in a celebrity match. How was that experience? How was that?
It was a blast. I mean, Kristian now that I'm at Collider, Kristian's, he has more access to me. So, he just came up and he's like, I think we're going to do this celebrity match. I think if we can get it to go, then we'll make it happen. It's these two guys from the show, from that movie Party Boat, and they're on Crackle, and they have all this stuff going on. Now, I didn't know the guys that well initially, but when I talked to them, I had seen them in other stuff, just had never registered that they were the guys in that stuff. So I'd seen them in other movies. So it was a blast. And then when he told me I was going up against Snyder, I couldn't resist the opportunity. He's like, do you want it? Do you want it? And I'm like, yes, Snyder, anytime, anywhere, against anyone or with anyone. Absolutely. I love, I worked for Jeff for a few weeks, and it was great. Jeff and I got along really well, as he was my editor and me as his writer. But when it comes to the Schmoedown, it's always great to challenge yourself against Jeff Snyder.
Definitely. And just off topic, though, some of those articles you wrote were fantastic, and I loved reading them every week. But sadly, I do need to rip this Band-Aid off. Let's talk about the top 10 versus action match. That was tough. Yeah. That was tough. Yep. What were your thoughts going into the match?
I really wanted to beat them, and I played some kind of psychological games with them. Like, Ben would try to text me about my previous matches, and I ignored his texts. When we would see each other in the Collider offices, I would shake his hand and then have only a couple of exchanges. And I tried to play the match off to them as if it wasn't a big deal to me. But inside, I really wanted to beat them, and I know Matt did as well. And so we had a different mentality coming into this match, something akin to the first match with the Patriots. I felt like that was our mentality. We knew they were good, but we thought we could beat them. And so it wasn't any case of over or underestimating him. It was, I think we overestimated him, if anything. So.
Now that it's been some time and you're able to look back a bit, do you think they managed to get inside your head a little bit, or was it just simply that you guys just weren't just able to get there that day?
Well, I think there's a lot that I think getting inside, yeah, the desire to beat them, if that was getting inside my head, then yes, we were very hyped up to beat them. But there is nothing that I missed that I would have normally gotten in any regular match where my head wasn't fucked with. But I felt like those two guys hit all the right buttons. And to be honest with you, it's a little bit of jealousy as well, because those guys took a page out of my book, or a few pages really out of my book, and then they decided to improve upon it. So all credit to Team Action or Team Multiple Choice, whatever you feel like calling them, and they brought it and they beat us. Like, all credit to them, they beat us. That's all you can do, is win the match on the day. But they had an incredible amount of luck with that wheel. And that's all I can tell you, is that I didn't miss any questions that I normally would have missed anyway. And I didn't think they got inside my head that way, but they did anger me. So my approach to the match was different. When I came out, you saw me, I was more dismissive. I was more argumentative. I was more like in there. So in that way, yes, they got inside my head. And because I just really wanted to beat them.
Fair enough. So Kristian also announced this week that you guys will be getting a #1 contenders fight against the losers of the title shot, if it's Team Action or if it is Above the Line. Are you guys okay with this, or do you, like, there's been a lot of backlash on the MTS page about this, and saying that you guys should probably fight Team MODOK before going on to the #1 contenders fight. What are your feelings on this backlash, and just thoughts in general?
Well, I think I get it, and I get why people are mad. You know, it's funny, when I was first coming up, everyone was on my side. Everyone was like following my journey, or most people were actually, and not everyone maybe, but most people were. And so when we won the belts, when I won the singles belt, like, people were all about it. But now it seems like I've crossed some kind of line where I'm like a veteran and I'm always just around. So people want new blood, and I get that. They're desperate for new blood, and there's a lot of great new Schmoedown competitors who've been attracted by the groundwork we've laid, the foundation we've laid on this with this thing. And so I get it. People are angry, and I do get the MODOK thing, absolutely. You know, but we beat Team Rotten Tomatoes already. We beat Team MODOK when it was called Team Rotten Tomatoes. If you recall, we beat them to face the Schmoes again, or to get the titles and stuff like that. So, like, we beat them already. But, you know, we lost to Team Action. We just want them. I don't care if it's a #1 contenders match. I don't care if it's an Iron Man match, 10 rounds of trivia. I don't care if we're in a steel cage. I don't care if it's first blood. Like, I don't give a shit what the match is. The only thing I ask for is to be a 2-on-2 with them. No opponent's choice, no multiple choice panels on the wheel, just knowledge versus knowledge. We'll see who the hell knows what they know about movie trivia. And if they beat us, and I said this already on Facebook, if they beat us, we won't walk out. I will stand up like a man. I will shake both their hands and go, "Congratulations, boys, you beat us." And I will pass the heel torch onto them. That's for sure. So I don't care about #1 contenders match. That's something that Kristian said on the show there, or the Schmoedown
Inside
show.
Schmoedown,
Inside Schmoedown. Yeah, that's something Kristian said. We didn't ask for it. But if you look at the fan poll, for all the thing is, the backlash is there because the voices that are minority voices are loud voices. But if you look at the poll that Kristian put up, we are at 60 to 70% of people wanting us to have the #1 contenders match. So people love Team Top 10, and you can't forget the history of us. We beat all the best teams that have ever been out there, except for the Patriots. And so we could pad our stats with Team whatever, what was the name? Perry's team, or Team Deep Cuts, or we could pad our stats with those victories. We could have done that, but we played the best. So our record is against the best teams. So that's my defense against that thing. But I get it. The fans have a right to be upset about things. I get it.
So looking forward to the future, and we've got the singles tournament coming up. You're playing the winner of the Fatal 5-Way that is airing on Tuesday. So far, we've got Scott Mance, Jason Inman, Dewberry, and Robert Meyer Burnett are confirmed with a 5th spot. Kristian knows who it is. We don't yet. Who are you most interested in fighting?
Mance. I mean, look, as much that's what everyone wants, is me versus Mance 3, and nothing's better than me and him. We just have an incredible rivalry that's seen so many different chapters, you know, and so I would love to close that loop with Scott someday, and hopefully he can do it. Robert Meyer Burnett would be great to face because he left us, and he left us in such a surprising way when he left the Horsemen. Jason Inman would be fun because Jason is, you know, a lot of people underestimate Jason, and he has carried his own in Team Trek, so I respect that greatly. And Dewberry would be interesting because I don't think I've ever faced Dewberry, so I never faced Team ETC, I don't think. Yeah. So it would be fun to go toe-to-toe with Dewberry and see what he can do. And also, whoever the fifth person is, only Kristian knows, and he won't tell us because, you know, that's how Kristian is. He likes to surprise the competitors. So, for better.
So, just getting on to the singles tournament, you have arguably one of the toughest runs to the championship you have to face. If whoever wins, you don't know who you're playing. If it's Scott Mance, that's a tough match in and of itself. Then you've got potentially either William Bibiani or Sam Levine.
Sam, yeah.
That in alone is a massive match. Bibiani is something that everyone's kind of really been wanting for a while. You versus Bibiani.
Yeah.
How do you feel if that is how it goes? How do you feel about that?
Well, we got unfinished business. You know, Bibbs is listen, I know I've been on his case, and I know the fans have jumped on his case, but the man knows movies. You know, it's just the Schmoedown is a whole nother animal. Everybody makes mistakes. I have my Bespin, Judy Greer. Who knows? I may have another one. You never know in teams or well, I didn't in the teams one, but you never know in the singles. You never know what can happen under the lights. You just don't know. And so it's like people should give him a little bit more space and credit for the movie knowledge he does have. Listen to any of his podcasts and you'll know he knows a lot about movies. So that's the challenge.
Yeah.
And we've said the lick my boots match, all that kind of stuff, but don't count out Sam. I mean, Sam has been surprising on this run in the teams tournament with Above the Line. And so he's got a lot of knowledge himself. So that's a tough competition. And you throw in on my side of the bracket, Rachel with Mark Andraco, and you have Stacy with Mark Ellis. So this is a lot of tough people in this side of the bracket, and you're right. If I make it to the finals, I'll have really earned my shot at the finals, you know. And so, but you know, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Crazy things happen in singles tournaments, so who knows what's going to happen?
Exactly. We all remember Makuga beating Clark Wolf last year, which was the never going to happen, no way, no one, and and that was a huge moment. Just have one last question for you. How do you prepare for the singles tournament when you don't know who you're playing? How do you, when everyone else at the moment knows who they're playing, but you're one competitor who is at the point where, okay, there's another match that tells me who I'm playing?
Yeah. Well, there's two things that I'm approaching it with. One, I just keep doing my 1 hour a night of movie trivia quizzes that I take on numerous websites to keep me sharp. And the other thing is just the confidence in myself that I'll beat whoever the 16th seed is. Like, the thing is, what's great about singles as opposed to teams is I can control myself in the situation. I don't have to worry about Matt carrying me or worrying about what he might not know. For me, it's just I can control the situation for myself. So if I got the right mentality, if I walk in with confidence in myself but also respect for my opponent, then I think I can do good work and I can win. So that's the approach. So whoever it's going to be, they're going to do everything they got to do because I'm the hunted one. I'm the number one seed. Everybody's got a target on I've got a target on my back and everybody's hunting me. So if I stay chill, if I stay calm, if I relax in the moment, then I have a good opportunity to win any match or anybody I'm playing in those 5.
Definitely. Well, Mr. John Rocha, thank you so much for this opportunity. If I was with you right now, I would shake your hand, but this has been fantastic and thank you so much. I'm going to go throw it back to myself and go from there. All right, guys, let's move on to the calming match after the tournament. The match that just calmed everyone down. We had just before, you know, destroying us all again on Friday, but calmed us all down. We had Maltese Falcon versus Cinemasins. Look, I've seen people complain about the match, and I can understand why people complained about it. I can see it. It wasn't a very high scoring match. We had just had two of like this week probably delivered 3 of the top 10 matches of all time. Like arguably that where you've got 3 matches in there where you could probably put maybe 3 of them in the top 10. But anyway, and then this came out, and then look, it's not the highest scoring match. I don't think it's the most. I don't think it was the most entertaining, but I still had a lot of fun. Leonard Maltin is on the Schmoedown. He is now an actual competitor in the Schmoedown. That is fantastic. Cinemasins showed that, you know, it took a bit of warming up and getting used to it, but then that round 2 was insanely good. Their final round was great. The teams, they played well. They had a good match. It was enjoyable. It wasn't the greatest match in the world, but it was the one that we needed at that point just to calm everyone down before the storm of Friday. Evan, what were your thoughts on Cinemasins versus Maltese Falcons?
I had a great time watching the match. It's just, especially with something with high and intense as action versus top 10, you need that match just to kind of relax. Maltin Falcons were just a lot of fun to watch versus Cinemasins, who have been getting in a bit of trouble with directors lately. That's a different conversation for a different time. But it's just fun to see everybody have a good time answering trivia, and that's what it looks like to me. I am kind of disappointed by the lack of support that video has gotten. You have Cinemasins, one of the biggest movie YouTube channels in the space, versus Leonard Maltin, arguably one of the biggest film critics that has ever lived on this planet. The viewership on that video was very low, and it's quite disappointing to see the lack of support that match has received. So that's kind of actually my takeaway is I'm kind of shocked by the viewership, and I think it might be because of the high of all the matches and how high quality there were. It was hard for people to actually talk about a match like this because all their energy has worn out. So, it's a bit disappointing, but all the same, the match was a joy to watch.
Yeah, I think it does come down to a discussion of when, I get why this match was released when it was. We're about to start the singles tournament. They had been promoting this match for a while. It was always going to happen. It was coming. I just think maybe, you've had such a massive high after the team action match. And then, I can understand why people were let down by it. I'm not. I just want to give that clear before anyone starts accusing me of that. I really enjoyed this match, but I just think probably should have swapped the dates. I would have put I think maybe put this on the Tuesday and then we had the 2 tournament matches and then end on the title match. Just 3 matches in a row of high intensity and just insane high intensity. And then I think that probably would have been the smarter option. But look, what do I know about scheduling? Matt, what were your thoughts?
Well, just to go to your point, I think maybe Harloff did this because he didn't want to have 2 celebrity matches back to back, because I don't think he wanted the Leonard Maltin match to be right after the party boat because he didn't want views and everything. I also think it was a great idea, especially after action top 10, like you said, nice fun. Some of the nicest competitors. They just both teams came in saying we are going to lose. I mean, we just did not get that this week. Yeah, I mean, I talked about on React. Leonard Maltin is one of my film critic idols, and it's so cool to see him on the he's on the Schmoedown. This is something I would have never thought about, and it was such a fun match, and I would love to see Cinemasins and Maltin Falcons come back. Scheduling, I know, but it's just these 2 teams. One, they showed they have very good knowledge, and it was just fun. And just any more Leonard Maltin the Schmoedown can get, I'm happy with.
Yeah, Chris Clark, what were your thoughts on this match?
I was really excited for this match, and yeah, it was very low scoring. I think the Maltins, they see a lot of movies, but as they explained in their pre-interview, that not a lot of it sticks for trivia. And I think that proved that. But look, It's a father and a daughter, and they have great chemistry. She had a great personality. Leonard seemed like he was having fun, and they really wanted to do it again regardless of record. They kind of just wanted to be there for fun. You have to commend that. And then you have Cinemasins, who badmouthed Kong Skull Island. They should have lost for that. Really should have lost for that. And again, these last 2 weeks hate me. They absolutely hate me. But, you know, this match was still a joy. It was fun. It was entertaining. I had a smile on my face the entire time, unlike other matches this week. So, you know, bada bing, bada boom, it was great.
Chris Dohmen, what were your thoughts this week?
Okay, kind of like Kearns, Leonard Maltin is a bit of a personal treasure to me because he's one of the first film critics that actually made being a film critic look really cool and really respectable. And so with that, to see him on the Schmoedown was amazing. And to see his daughter work with him as a team was incredible because, yeah, sure. Did they miss a couple of ones that maybe to some of us seemed a little obvious? Whatever. They've seen more movies than any of us will ever see in our lifetimes. So the fact they pulled out what they did, awesome. And going back to the man who, to me, holds so much gravitas, to quote a guest of ours this week, I have to say, seeing Leonard Maltin come out to Andrew WK, rock on, baby. That was beautiful.
Thanks, Eric. Yeah, Chris, I totally understand that, and it's great having Leonard Maltin part of the Schmoedown. It's surreal to say, but all right, we've buried the lead long enough. Let's do it. Yes! Kristian Harloff. Exactly. Kristian Harloff versus Dan Murrell in what turned out to be a retirement match, but not for the competitor that we thought it would be. This one hurt. This hurt. I am unabashedly a Dan Murrell supporter. Rocha is number 1. Dan Murrell is number 2. And look, when Mark Riley retiring, we've known about this for a while. To hear it at the end of him losing, to hear it and then say, I'm done for the foreseeable future, that hurt. I wasn't given time to process, and that's why in the reaction I apologize for being so quiet and just sitting there in stunned silence. But I do want to say, before we get into the match, I do want to mention this, and I said it in the reaction, but it's very important to say, and I didn't quite say it as well as I thought I would. Dan Murrell brought a lot to the Schmoedown, and Dan Murrell he made the belt worth something. He made it worth that you get this belt, you are the best. If there's no Dan Murrell, that belt isn't worth what it is today because he was that good. He was just, there has not been anyone who is as good as Dan Murrell, and I don't think there will be one for a long time. Everyone we've anointed as the next champion has crumbled under Dan Murrell, and their records don't hold up. No one has been able to hold up to Dan Murrell as well as Dan Murrell himself. And look, even in the free-for-all, everyone said that John Humphreys was the MVP of the free-for-all. Everyone was saying, oh my God, he was amazing because he just lasted. Dan Murrell got the most correct answers, he had the most amount of points in the free-for-all out of any competitor. There is not going to be another competitor better than Dan Murrell in a long time. I just wanted to say this. Thank you, Dan Murrell. Thank you so much for everything you have done for this sport that we all love. And we hope you're on the best. And I cannot wait for you to come back in the free-for-all. And I hope it's the free-for-all. I am hoping it is the free-for-all more than anything, that is the match that you come back in. But if it's not, then we will see you next time. And it's still heartbreaking, but I get why, and we need new blood in this tournament. We need the not same, now 4 people to hold the belt. We need the new blood. The new blood's coming up. It's fantastic new blood. This tournament is going to really, really highlight some incredible competitors that we have. But yeah, thank you for everything. And Evan, I'm going to go to you. What were your thoughts on Dan Murrell leaving and the match?
Well, thank you for writing Nicholas Sparks' next book. That is very much appreciated. So I actually do want to dive deep into this match. It sucks that Dan Murrell's he is Jaws, like he is Bruce the Shark. You don't want to be near that guy. He will eat you alive, with class. Though I do want to further elaborate. This match, in my eyes, was probably one of the best matches that we've gotten this month. And we have gotten a lot of freaking good matches. Everybody's like, oh, it's low scoring. Oh, the questions were too hard. The tense, I wasn't even on the reaction, and I was literally jumping up and down in my chair. I was left speechless because I was going for Harloff. Harloff and Ellis are my 1 and 2. They're mono to me. Except Ellis is a little bit higher, but headbands, cut off t-shirts, you get the point. Harloff is my guy that I like to root for. I really fell in love with his revenge tour, going for Signor, beating William Bibiani very handily. Chris Clark beating Snyder was one of the best matches that we'll ever see in the Schmoedown, and then beating Murrell. And to beat him on a question about one of my favorite actors of all time, J.K. Simmons, just was Maltin. It was just the frosting on the cake. It was the cherry on the ice cream. I don't know how many more metaphors I can use, but it was something that needed to happen. And I'm happy that MTS hasn't had that many, oh, Harloff cheated comments. That's something that Facebook page has finally turned around. I haven't seen that many comments, which is good because storyline, it made sense for him to win the belt. And, and you could tell it hit him hard when Dan was retiring too. When he was like, oh my God, Dan's retiring? Really? It shocked him. He didn't know it was coming. None of us did. But I'm excited for the fact that we might actually get Ellis Harloff. Will it actually happen? The chances of that are a solid 12%. But I'll take my 12%. We'll see how it goes. We'll roll the dice.
Yeah, and look, I do want to just mention, I don't think I gave enough credit to Harloff. That match was insane. That match was incredible. I talked too much about Dan retiring and not enough about the match. The match itself was absolutely insane. I have seen so many people complain that it wasn't a high scoring match. Fuck you. Who cares? That was tense. It was fun. It was entertaining as hell. I have never sat on the edge of my seat so much in a Schmoedown match since
critically.
Yeah, even then, this is I have not been so excited and pumped for a match than this one, and it delivered. It 100% delivered. It was fantastic. I loved everything about it. Matt, let's go to you. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, this was a crazy match, and I think this proves that sometimes, high scoring does not always equal an amazing game. Sometimes 2 great storylines converging makes a great game, and that's exactly what we had here. I was so excited when Harloff won. But like you were saying, I was so tense during this. When the speed round happened and the Independence Day question, I was like, Harloff better challenge that, and they did, and it was crazy, But to just say, Dan Murrell, I understand why, him and Raya are retiring. It does suck to lose the first 2 champs. I can't 100% agree with Jacob's whole thing about it was Murrell who made the belt so wannable. But he definitely he had an amazing run as the champ, and he left a legacy. I'll say that. And when hopefully he'll be back. It'll be interesting, with both of these competitors to see when they come back. What's the Schmoedown going to be like without two of the top hit. And now we have Harloff as champion. Who knows? He's not even sure belt, which is just crazy. But it was an amazing match.
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, look, I had a big feeling that at the end of this match, Harloff was just going to give up the belt. He was like, nah, the belt is on the line for the tournament final will be for the belt. Then Dan happened, and it just went from there. Chris Dohmen, what were your thoughts on this match?
I just about cried twofold because one, my favorite competitor, a man who has nothing but my utmost respect from obviously pretty much everybody here on this channel, but also from me personally in terms of why I got involved in YouTube in the first place. The fact that he got something that he honestly deserved, which was the belt of his own league. It's the same thing like when Vince McMahon won the belt. He deserved it at least one time. And I'm not saying Harloff needs to necessarily always defend it. If he does lose his next defense, that's fine. He just deserved to have it at least once. But then I cried on twofold because the single greatest player of all time has now retired. And that hurts. Because while I'm not the biggest fan of Dan Murrell, of course, I respect the living hell out of him. And yeah, he's the best of all time. No question about it. So it sucks to see him go. But at the same time, I just can't help but be happy for Harloff having done what seemed like the most impossible task and actually pull off the win. So, and okay. I'm sorry, but I'd like to revert back to my previous point about the whole team action and the strategy thing. Here, Kristian actually took his opponent's / spinner's choice to his advantage. He played the game, and he played it in a way that I feel was actually very strategic, and it actually worked because he knows Dan. He knows his strengths and weaknesses. What very, 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 very few weaknesses Murrell has. But that's ultimately how I think Kristian actually managed to pull the win. Because, and again, like you said, Jacob, to anybody who says, oh, this match sucks, it was low scoring, go fuck yourself. This was one of the best title matches of all time. But, and again, like I said, it blows my mind that it finally happened. And while I'm sad to see Murrell go, I cannot contain the joy for Kristian, as you guys saw me literally jump up and down with my mother right next to me as we were cheering on Kristian winning the goddamn belt because, woo!
Exactly. Clark, what were your thoughts?
This match was, you guys have mentioned that sometimes a low-scoring match, most of the time a low-scoring match is kind of forgettable, admittedly, but this is the exception to the rule. Any high-scoring match, almost every high-scoring match is memorable and it's fantastic. This is one of the few instances where a low-scoring match was A, intense, B, insanely entertaining, and C, had a twist that nobody saw. And, for lack of a better word, this is great theater. This match just proves how much great theater the Schmoedown puts on. And, it's sad to see Dan leave. I can guarantee it's probably not going to be for long. He'll be back. The bug is going to kick in. So, I mean, for now, it might seem like it's rough. But, this match as a whole was great. It actually showed that Dan is human and Kristian is human. And that things don't always happen the way that you think they will. So this match was fantastic. It was fun. I wouldn't say it was probably my favorite title match ever, but it is what it is, and it affected everybody. It's going to affect storylines to come.
Yeah, definitely 100%. All right, let's get back into a better mood. Evan, what was your best moment and your most valuable player this week?
My favorite moment of this week has to be Harloff winning the belt. It came full circle. The revenge tour is complete, as people would say. And that makes me really excited. And the most valuable player of the week is a difficult one because there's so many. I can't pick Bateman or Andrew Guy because one of them is just a guy, and one of them names, if you take out an E, is Batman, and we all know Batman isn't real, so it can't be Ben Bateman. This is a bit difficult. I'm having difficulty here. I keep saying the word difficult. I'll have to go with Kristian Harloff again. He beat the GOAT. If you beat the GOAT, then you're the most valuable player of the week. So it has to be Kristian Harloff.
I know a lot of us are going to be saying Harloff, but Chris, I'm assuming that they're your two as well, or have you got something different?
My moment, actually, my favorite moment is not Kristian winning. It's, again, going back to seeing such a prestigious man with a legacy like Leonard Maltin come into a game, coming out to freaking Andrew WK of all artists and actually putting up the rock horns. Again, just the Maltin Falcons entrance, I'm still blown away that it happened the way it did. It still cracks me up. So, and actually, most valuable player. I again, if we're talking in terms of how they played the game, then yes, Harloff. However, I'm actually going to go Mark Riley. From the way he played and led Wolves of Steel to what I almost feel could have and possibly should and probably should have been a win. But it's not quite the way it happened, but I'm giving him one last chance of full credit while I can.
Yep, that's very true. Matt, did he just steal yours?
Yeah. I mean, come on. But I'll do my favorite moment is it has to do with Harloff winning belt, but it's actually during the post-match interview with Emma Fife. And he was talking about his daughter. He was talking about how she was saying, "Are you going to win the belt, Dad?" And he was like, "No, I'm fighting Murrell." And just thinking him going home and being like, bringing the belt. Like, just imagine what that's going to be like. Of like, Dada won the belt. Like, that's just, that brought a smile on my face when he was saying that. And I mean, yeah, most valuable player of the week is the actual GOAT, Mark Riley. All right. I'll just leave it at that.
My most valuable player this week actually does have to go to Andrew Guy. I thought Andrew Guy played an incredible game. I thought like they were just in that you don't do what they did and not, to me, be considered most valuable player of the week. That was such an incredible match, and I would go there. I mean, look, they scored some of the most points. Drew McWeeny, to me, I was considering Drew McWeeny, but I gave it to him for the last 2 weeks, so I'm just going to kind of go. I'm going to go somewhere new. My favorite moment. Look, I kind of want to move it. My favorite moment of the week. It is Dan, like, because I had a bad week. Like, I just had a bad. I lost nearly all my matches. So, but that said, my favorite moment, it is Harloff winning the belt. He deserves it. He is like it is a great moment. But I do want to mention one other thing that is completely off topic from the Schmoedown, and I think it does need to be mentioned. This is my favorite moment in terms of schmoes this week. Harloff delivered one of the greatest goodbye outros of a show, the 300 show from the Schmoedown. I do just want to say it was fantastic. I know it's got nothing to do with the Schmoedown. It's talking just Schmoes. No, I just want to say thank you for that. And you brought a tear to my eye with just everything that week. This week has been very emotional for me with the Schmoes. No, with the Schmoes in general. I don't know why it's been so emotional. It's not like it's not there next week, but it's just been the culmination of weeks and weeks and weeks of effort and love and everything towards this game that it's just, the very big emotional release this week. But Chris, let's go with yours. what was your MVP and best moment?
It's funny how you say emotional week for you. Yeah, same thing for me. Look, my favorite. Let's go with my MVP. My MVP is going to be actually what's his name? Sam Levine. Sam Levine on critically acclaimed. I mean, above the line, because look, Sam. He showed how much of a strong teammate he was throughout that entire game, and I feel like I gave Drew the last 2 weeks. I'm giving it to Sam again. They killed it. That team will go down in history and Schmo history. And my favorite moment. Wait till you hear this. Okay, my favorite moment in this week was when Mark Riley retired.
Oh,
wait. Because now it opens up so many new stories. It opens up so many new places for things to go, for things to happen in the Schmoedown. It opens stories, and I know, Matt, you're about to block me right now. But look, it opens a lot of stories, and it opens a lot of opportunities for other matches that we've never seen yet. And who knows? Maybe Riley is the interim commish, and we are going to get him more often anyway. So, I mean, him retiring, it opens up storylines, it opens up opportunities, and it gives another fresher take on the Schmoedown. So that's my favorite moment of the week, and I just made a lot of enemies.
Philly ain't that far from New York, just letting you know, Chris.
If that turns out dead, Matt, you're going to be the first suspect. All right, guys. All right, that's the tournament over and done. We have done the Ultimate Schmoedown tournament. The final is in November. But next week is the qualifier, is the last qualifier for the Ultimate Singles Tournament. I'm really excited about that. Let's just quickly talk. Next week, we have the Fatal 5-Way with an unknown player, Robert Meyer Burnett, Scott Mance, Jason Inman, and Dewberry. Guys, Evan, I'm going to go with you. Who's winning and who's the other competitor?
Okay, it's Mance's to lose. If you compare Mance's knowledge to the rest, Mance is by far the best competitor in that group. I think Tom Daggino is the one who's going to be walking out because he's always been talking like, I know the knowledge. And if you reconcile, he posted something, I think it was on Twitter, where he goes, during that team match, I got 6 out of the 8 questions right. I had a really good percentage. That's my Tom Daggino impression. And I think he's trying to pipe himself up for whenever he comes back into the league. And if there's a time for him to come back into the league, it's now. And think about Tom Daggino versus John Rocha, the blood. That would be insane. But Scott Mance is going to win, and we're finally going to get the Rocha Mance 3 that we all deserved.
Fair enough. Chris Dohmen, who is the mystery player and who's winning?
In terms of the mystery player, I would not be surprised if we actually get Jim Vejvoda in this match, because in case you guys haven't noticed, the split up / rebranded IGN was not in the tournament, but Jim loves playing this game. What better way to get him back into a tournament than put him in a Fatal 5-Way? Because say what you will about IGN as a team, he is a goddamn superstar. And what better place to put him in than right here? And sad thing is, though, I don't see him winning that because, like Evan, I also see Mance winning because the story is set. It's already been set up for the possibility of Rocha Mance 3. And this time, there's no rivalry. There's no real blood. There's 2 friends who are going to duke it out to close out the trilogy of who wins. And please, if it's the only way this is going to happen.
Fair enough. Well, look. Sorry, I just got distracted then. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. I mean, Rocha even said in his interview, he's pulling for Mance. He wants Mance to win this match. I personally wouldn't be surprised if it's Ben Bateman. If Ben is the one that comes out And if Ben is the one who comes out, I think he wins. It's going to set up a really interesting storyline of Rocha having to replay someone from Team Action in his next match. I think that is a very compelling storyline and a very compelling, Rocha's going to end up playing the most likely 3 competitors that Rocha will be playing before he gets to the final is 3 competitors he has major beef with, and that is Ben Bateman or Andrew Guy, Bibiani, and possibly Ellis. They're 3 big matches, and I think that is 3 of the hardest hits we go. Matt, who have you got?
I actually, funny enough, you said Ben Bateman because I have Andrew Guy. He was your MVP of this week, and Andrew is someone who I'm waiting to see when he goes to singles. I feel like this could be the time for him to come in. And I think I was going to say Scott Mance, but now that I'm thinking about it, if Andrew Guy is in that Fatal 5-way, I think Andrew could pull it out because he can get into everyone's heads. And the sad part is Jason Inman's going to be fighting Mance, so he can't calm him down. So I think Andrew would be able to pull it out, which who doesn't want to see Andrew Guy play John Rocha?
Me.
Chris Clark. Who you got? Do we even need to ask?
Okay, look, this is actually difficult. Okay. If you go by what's happening in the Schmoedown tournament and you look at what Kristian really wants, he wants to put teammate against teammate. You have JT and Snyder. You have the possibility of Chandler versus Stacey Howard. You also have the possibility of 2 things. You have the possibility of Burnett versus Andreyko. But if the Fatal 5-way is what I think correct, if the Fatal 5-way mystery person is Whitney, and he beats John Rocha, we could get a Whitney versus Bibbs. Now, I really, 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 really want Whitney to be the mystery 5 person, but then that puts Whitney against Burnett. So let me see this for a second. Let me do some math here. Do I want Whitney or Burnett to win? I would say if the Fatal 5-way is Whitney, I will go Whitney. If the Fatal 5-way is anybody else but Whitney, R&B is taking this because he is better than every other person on that panel. You cannot deny that.
I would like to cut in real quick. Since when have your predictions ever been right, Clark? You have never had a right prediction in your life. So anything that you pick, whoever picks opposite is probably choosing right. Thank you.
Wait, do you guys agree with this statement?
It's not without precedent.
No, he's not wrong.
I mean, it was apologies. Just throwing it out there, buddy.
You got Blofeld's cat right the first time.
All right.
Particularly claimed.
All right, guys.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That about does it and that's all the time we've got this week. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I do want to give a quick shout out. If you haven't yet, The Rundown had their 50th episode this week. It is a great episode. It is nearly 4 hours long, but the reason it's nearly 4 hours long is they got Sam Levine. They are chatting with Sam Levine. It is one of the best guests they've ever had. Go check it out. It is an incredible interview. It is an incredible episode. It is absolutely fantastic. Make sure you go check it out right now on YouTube on the SK Plus show. I also just want to say thank you to everyone on my panel today. Chris Clark, where can they find you online?
You can find me at Chris Clark 8788 on Twitter. Those numbers mean nothing. Or you can find me on YouTube at No Man's Land Entertainment. Bada bing, bada boom.
Matthew Kearns, where can they find you?
You guys, as always, can find me curled up crying on a ball over Mark Riley retiring in my bedroom. But you can find me on Twitter at Kearns_Matthew, MattMovie611 on YouTube, and hosting the Movie Fandom Show right here every other Wednesday on Take 3.
Okay, Chris Dohmen, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at my band Last Shot Redemption at LSAR Band MN. You guys can follow Take 3 Productions on Twitter at Take 3 Trivia. And you can find me finally coming back to the Worldwide Movie Trivia League as the commissioner and host.
Evan, where can they find you online?
You guys can find me at DeGraff15 on Twitter. The numbers, that is important to all of you because I actually talk with some competitors if I'm lucky enough. And sometimes I'm lucky, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I get into fights. Sometimes we actually have a good conversation. It really just depends on the day and how the other people are feeling. And little tease, the orange bandana is coming back soon.
Oh, God. I do also want to thank you so much to John Rocha for the interview. It was fantastic. Next week, we are looking at the singles tournament. We're going to have a massive show. I'm trying to get some incredible guests and try and just do our massive single tournament special. So please join us next week for that. But for everyone here from Take 3 Productions, I'm Jacob Blunden. You can find me online at Jacob Blunden on Twitter and Facebook. And until next time, take care.